Hi, my name is Tamta and welcome to My Kitchen, Her Story. Today's guest went from LA to Silicon Valley to London. This girl lives to build the next big thing. She's supported by her two founders that have multi-million-pound exits under their belt. And now they're really working hard to create a special community, a special place for founders to hang out together, work, and do all the things that founders want to do when they get together. And they're really redefining the game when it comes to Members Club. Please meet an amazing powerhouse, superwoman, a co-founder of the Curve Club, Erin Wolfe. Hi, Erin. I'm always so nervous when I'm introducing the guests, and I'm always like, never really on the script, because I just like go freestyle, and I'm like, shit, did I just like chat shit?
Love it. I think that's the magic.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited.
Same.
What are we cooking today? Because that's like first things first.
I'm surprised we can still stand and we're not seated when you hear this recipe. We are creating the ultimate avocado toast.
Such a California girl thing to do. I love it. We're all very hungry, so I can't wait to dig into it. And are we gonna do a little bit of like a challenging poaching the egg situation here?
I think so. You know what? We like to rise to the challenge.
Yeah.
Get through it.
So hard.
And this is actually a recipe that we live and breathe by in the office. So,
yeah?
Yeah.
Amazing. I can't wait. We'll get started. We can just, I guess, like even share this desk and like, I'll get started with avocados. Do you wanna, or we can do avocado each.
Yeah, we can do avocado each.
And then just go with the flow.
Perfect.
But while we do all of that, I would love to also hear your story because it's so diverse, a little bit unconventional when it comes to going from being a ballerina to an owner of a private members club.
Yeah.
And so there are multiple different topics that I would love to dive into to get a better understanding of your background, upbringing, and what shaped you into the entrepreneur that you're today.
Ready.
So tell me a little bit more let's start from your childhood and tell me a little bit more on where did you grow up? What was the family dynamic like when you were growing up and all those good things?
Yeah. All right. So I grew up in avocado. We'll start before I get thrown off.
That's all right.
So I originally grew up on the East Coast. So my mom's Japanese, my dad's Irish, but also you guys have to remember I'm American. So when we say we're like Japanese and Irish, it's like Japanese and Irish, you know? I'm American.
So you don't make any Japanese dishes at home?
I actually grew up on them.
Really?
So my mom, her mom's mom emigrated to America for the better life, the American dream, and then my dad's dad emigrated from Ireland. So It's very loose ties, but that's what we are. So I'm half Japanese, and I think like growing up, the big thing in our household was you can like work hard, but then you can like work a little bit harder, you know?
Okay. Yeah. So I was like waiting for like work hard and play hard. Like, nope. Do it more.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
It was like the classic, like you can study more, you have no social life. If you want to like have a good time, great. Then you're learning something new. It's like I had to play like 3 instruments. We always had to do like extra math classes. I had a bowl cut.
God.
It's
like it must be tiring even to list all of these extracurricular activities.
Yeah, it was. The bowl cut was definitely the worst. No.
Okay.
And then on top of that, ended up starting. So everyone in my family, we all had to like perform a sport at a collegiate level. So we had to like get to that. My parents just knew that we were going to get there.
Okay.
So I ended up falling in love with ballet. So at like the age of 4, started doing it. Got picked up by this studio. In Princeton, and kind of dedicated my life to it. Ended up going through the pre-professional track. A career highlight was actually going to Miami City Ballet. So
oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, so when I wasn't like studying or doing anything like that, I basically spent every waking hour just in the studio. So I was just
I can empathize with that. I used to be a dancer.
Really?
Did you know that?
No.
Yes, so I used to dance ballroom.
Oh my gosh.
I used to compete in ballroom.
Right.
Yeah. So I really empathize when you say like, you know, spending every waking hour in the studio and like just training and training and training and training a little bit more. And but it's so fun. It's like the stage in my life that I remember so fondly.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. And it was always my mom's dream for me to dance ballroom because she never did and she always wanted to. Oh, and so, yeah, it's super fun. I love meeting kind of also people who were dancing and had that experience because I think like it really develops a different discipline for you.
Yeah, I think it's something where it's like, you know, you can overcome any obstacle.
Yeah.
You also stay out of trouble. It's like, I know how to stay in my lane. I know how to keep my head down. I know like it's not a team sport. It's like you're very much like you're competing against yourself. So it's very much like a you versus you game. Mm-hmm. So I think like your mentality changes, and I think ultimately helped me for a little bit. It was like, obviously like there was like some gnarly things growing up because like if you didn't get the part, you're doing everything. It was like, it was just you. That's why we were always reminded it's like a you versus you mentality versus like, because it's really easy to get like jealous of others. It was really easy to compare yourself. It's like so easy to like put forward this like picture perfect, like I'm doing my all, but like you're really not. It's like harder to get there. So yeah, it was really good when it came to like just the discipline, and then also I think like you just have to mentally be so sound to keep like showing up every day, improving, getting better, and then like learning to how to support other people as well, because it's not your natural instincts to do that, I don't think, because I think like you always want to be the best, and then you see all these talented people around you that are just better than you for whatever reason, and you're like, well, how am I supposed to get there too?
Yeah.
So it was
and
good.
Is it like, because it's also, when it comes to dancing, I do believe it's a matter of, like, it's a blend of having skills and being gifted, and some people are just so gifted they don't have to go that like 110% to become, you know, very good at it, while others it's like it's really a craft and something that you really work hard on to develop.
Yeah. And I think another big thing that helped was that like the older and older you got, it was like such a smaller set of like girls that you were dancing with, that you were doing it, 'cause every summer you had to do like a summer intensive. You got to try out for like different professional companies to train with them over the summer. So it's like you had no summer, you had no vacations, you had no like fun flirty holidays. Like you were like 9 to 5, Monday through Sunday, like no breaks, just training. So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. So you were doing that while studying.
Yeah.
And then, but was it the family dynamic that like, obviously you were doing 1,000 different extracurricular activities. And how was that kind of, were you really kind of pushed to become an entrepreneur at some stage in your life, or did they see you going into finance, or like what was it that really your parents kind of nudged you to go towards?
I love that you say that, because
we don't know what that is. Maybe it was me. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I still love that you say that.
Yes. Okay. Why?
Mainly because I'll never forget. Like I remember, I reached the height of my like dancing career, and I was like, "Great, Mom! Like I'm gonna dance with Miami City Ballet. Like this is me. This is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life." And she was like,
you actually wanted to do it professionally?
I did. And then I'll put the knife down for a second. And then I think
I'll do it for you.
I think they were all like so surprised that, you know, ended up making it this far, because I was actually gonna like skip university just to continue on. And both my parents were software engineers. So they're like, no, that is not. We didn't think you'd actually like, you know, pursue it like this
professionally.
Yeah. We didn't think that it would actually culminate to this. So they were like, you actually have to go to university, which was, I think, like obviously who doesn't love an education? So it was like we're very privileged to be able to just be able to do that instead. And then I'll never forget. I told my mom, I was like, I can't believe after all these years
of training,
I would love to be an accountant. And I think she just hung up on me. She was like, absolutely not. She was like, you are unwell. Maybe take a beat, take a lap, circle back, come back to it. And then I ended up studying entrepreneurship when I was at university.
Okay.
That's what kind of like started this whole journey, really.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
And so you went to uni, you graduated, and then you went into finance.
No. So I always knew I was going to work in tech. So
sorry, in tech. Why do I keep saying finance? I don't know. Silicon Valley. Yes.
I'm good with numbers. No. No, that's my half Asian side talking. So really, while I was there, I'll just never forget, like when we were able to like be on campus and whatnot, like your finals, you were able to like learn how to set up a company. So you were taught like an MVP, cash flows, how do you set things up, like what are you looking for? I went to USC, so we were in LA, so like everyone always wanted to give our campus like free stuff because if it trended on our campus, it ended up like trending everywhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. The popular one.
Exactly. So it's like our school was in LA, all the celebs kids went there, everyone went there. So it was just like, and also it was great because it was like humbling. Like if you thought you came from a small town and you were like, oh, I'm so talented, I was a ballerina, I'm good at math.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. Homegirl, you are average. You are mediocre.
Sit down.
Exactly. It's like you are coming up. I feel like it really just like up leveled me because all of a sudden I realized I was like, okay, we need to grow in order to keep like swimming with the big dogs. Like we had this phrase of like big dog, little pup, and I think I was still a little pup at that phase. And I was like, we got to get there.
Do you miss being a little pup sometimes? Since now you are all grown up business owner in this wild world?
No. I think I needed the push. I needed the challenge. I needed everything that happened. Because I think it was like great. So essentially like where we went to school, so many free things were thrown at you. So many opportunities were thrown at you. And like so many people, I felt like you either like swam or you sunk. It was like sink or swim.
Yeah.
So it was really fun because like for a lot of our courses, they always like told us, they were like, you have to interview like entrepreneurs. You have to meet people. I remember we got to meet like the craziest people starting different businesses. This one guy walked in, he was like, oh yeah, I just started like the biggest like, surf brand in the world. But I'll like chat with you guys about how I did it and all that stuff. So we were all like just kind of hooked around like, how do we do this? How do we make it?
Right.
How do we do this too? And so I think like the first time, I think I can cut some of these while you cut those. So the first time I think we like dipped into it was Press Juice. Before they were this like big company, they were actually sending our campus like free pressed juices. And we were like, oh, this is great. Like, what person doesn't love a low calorie pressed juice? It's like allegedly great for you. Like, I'm getting better in every single way. So the smart thing we thought about was, but on the flip side, we're also university students, so low calories. We also want to party. So we ended up pouring out like half these pressed juices in our sorority house.
Topping it up with alcohol?
Topping it with any alcohol we could
Naughty.
Because we obviously couldn't find any. And also my background, I had no social skills. This was the first time I ever partied in my life. This was like the first time I was like, whoa, I'm going to let my hair down. I don't even know what that means. Like, this is crazy. I'll never forget, we were showing our professor this like cash flow thing. I was like, there's no overheads. We just get free products. We're finding alcohol wherever we can. Because like, we were like a big football school or American football school. So you can just like, pick up alcohol anywhere. So we're just filling them. The drinks looked actually disgusting. Like it was vile. Like some like the green ones, it was whatever we found. We were just pulling in. We were like selling them around campus. And
you were reselling those alcoholic drinks?
Yes. So we were
illegal?
Well,
yes.
I like to think it was just a little bit of finesse. So it was like, it wasn't too crazy. So we're running around and we were like telling our teacher, because like our final was like we were supposed to work with like different nonprofits. We're giving you the company, you had to make the MVP for them, and we were like, let's scrap that. We have this thing, it's called alcoholic pressed juice, low calories, but you're getting wasted. Dream. And we did the whole pitch. We were like all these different phrases. We were like trying to say black out or back out, turn up or transfer. We thought we were like the next billionaires.
Right.
Until suddenly, like obviously a teacher, right before we were like, okay, we're ready to pitch to the VCs. Like, this is our time. My life's about to change.
Right.
Wow.
I'm going to be a CEO,
exactly.
founder.
Like, I'm about
Let's
to be
do
like
it.
19 to 20 and I'm retiring. I'm investing everything. Maybe I will get into finance. I'm going to live the dream.
I love it.
No, we obviously get reported. They tell our parents. Like, I sent to AA. We are shut down. Stop. They are like, you cannot do the same reaction as you. I like how I was like, yeah, I'll just cut some cheese and just breeze past those details. No, you're not allowed to do that.
Oh my God.
But it kind of gave us like our first, I wish I turned 21 and kept it going because it would have been great.
Yeah.
But it was like my first little inkling into like, this is something I really want to do. I kind of got the slap on the wrist, which was nice because I was like, okay, things can't always work out. You can't always cut corners. Like, maybe you should like.
But also like prepare, right? Like do the research.
Yeah, we like swan dived like blindly into this, being like, oh, we're just business owners now. Like, no, we weren't. So
we just reinvented the wheel. No, because nobody knew you could mix alcohol with juice.
Exactly, and we just thought it was like. Genius.
Yeah.
And so then anyways, a couple years when we graduate, everyone was just like, it was really easy just to move to the Bay Area. They were like, move to SF, go to Silicon Valley. Like, that's where you'll really be. Like, that's what working in tech is. They're like, you were in LA, great, whatever, you made it. But if you really want to make it, you have to move to SF. So I ended up taking a job at like a big tech company for like security as my first job straight out of university.
Amazing. Oh, I would love to actually dive into that while finally you're cutting something. Yeah. I'm like slaving away in this kitchen, cutting for her. Like, am I a sous chef or what?
Yeah.
Can I be hired at Curve Club
I was
to like
just about to say.
do some chefing?
Yeah.
So you joined the tech company.
Yeah.
And how long were you in tech for?
Right before Curve, I was always in tech. So
okay.
Basically, I actually have two sisters, so I'm the middle child, if you haven't got that energy yet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You guys, middle children, have a thing. We literally had another guest, City, and she was like, yeah, I'm a middle child, therefore I'm like, you know, take the best of all worlds, and, you know, I'm so considerate, and I'm the successful and the smart and organized one.
You can tell middle child because my older sister, like, she studied computer science. She actually started a business before I started a business. She like made millions. She exited it. But she had to like color in the lines. Like, I was allowed to just start chucking alcohol into pressed juices, calling my mother about it, and it was fine because you're number two. What do you have to lose?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. They already had their golden child, so the pressure was less.
The pressure was so much less. I actually would say, like, any older children out there, we're like grateful for you, because or else like we wouldn't be able to like do what we're doing.
Yeah. No, definitely. Well, I'm the eldest one, so I do remember that crazy pressure. Yeah. I mean, literally, sorry, mom and dad, but like, I feel like I didn't have a childhood. Like, it was just like school, teacher, extracurricular, dance, practice, school, homework, and all over again. And I was just like, and I thought that was what childhood was meant to be like.
Yeah.
You know, like, you just work hard since you were a kid.
Exactly. It's like that's what I was saying. My older sister, she had to work hard just to work a bit harder. And then I sometimes got to be like, ooh, maybe I can figure out how to work a little bit smarter. Like, you know, blur the lines. Yeah, exactly. See where I can play.
Yeah.
But then I think all of that ended up, I ended up working at Oracle as my first job. Mm-hmm. So I
huge
think like
tech company.
Huge tech company.
And we have that in common too.
Yeah.
Dancers.
Yeah.
In tech.
Yeah. Like, it was just one of those things where everyone was like, just get like 2 years under your belt and like all the doors will open for you. And I remember thinking, I was like, oh God, this sounds like an eye roll, but let's do it. Like, I'm gonna buckle up. Let's get into it. And then I'll never forget, like, any entry sales role, I was a BDR. So I didn't realize.
Oh, you know, I've never done the BDR role. So,
right.
So for those who don't know what the BDR is, so you have obviously different sales positions, and so BDR is
business sales
grinders, right? Like business development representatives. Yeah. So they're cold calling. They're really breaking down those doors, trying to get through to the right person to set up a call for then the sales associate to run it, right? Yeah. So you started as a BDR. That's like, that really gives you a little.
We would always tag. We had like a couple phrases we used to use on our team. We would say we live in like the house of hustle, but rent is never late. And then when we were, because you said it, cold calling, we were like, all right, Monday to Friday, smile, dial, spray, and pray. Like, that was us. Just, like,
I love
going
that.
after like any of our key accounts, any of our targets, because like on the plus side, like it was worth it, because I'd say like work-life balance was just it was phenomenal, but it was grueling because like during that hours of the day you were just raking through the phone calls on, like, usually whenever I wanted a break, I'd like call my mom a couple times to like slip in the numbers. I'd be like, oh hey, guys, someone answered. You trying to buy some software?
I can see some trends here in terms of just slipping in some things in between work and all of that. But when you're a BDR and in that role, I find, BDR or not, in sales role, I found that you really grow a thick skin when it comes to rejection.
Yeah.
Because you get rejected left, right, center, diagonally.
You're only
like,
rejected.
Everywhere. Like, it's just like everyone is like, nope, don't want to talk to you, too expensive, not good enough.
Yeah.
Who are you to call me?
Yeah.
All those stuff. So like, did that really set you up for that go-get attitude? No doors are thick enough for me to get through when it comes to then going down the entrepreneurial
100%, because I think like if it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. And then like when you go through those experiences, when you do start throwing like W's up on the board, you're like, wow, I've earned this. This is awesome. I'm progressing. Like this is wild. Like look where we're going. So it was good, but it like you do have to be like super persistent. Like that's why we were always like the smile and dial. We were like, people can tell if you're not excited.
It's the attitude.
Though,
right? Like that you were trying to set in the right mood. In terms of smile dial.
Exactly. You just show up every single day, which was fun. So when we started Curve, we didn't really have that many connections. So we were it was just me, just like banging through LinkedIn, different things, just trying to get feedback, trying to get in front of anyone. So it is good. I think it's like a good life skill set because it's like you will always get like a no. No one really cares who you are. And then you're like, whew. There goes my ego too.
That was a humbling experience.
Like you think you're like, oh look at me, I worked towards all these things, I'm doing all these great things, but no one cares. So you do learn a lot.
That's amazing. So how long were you in tech for?
So I worked for Oracle for like a little under 2 years, and then ended up working these two like friends of friends ended up getting funding after they went through Stanford Business School. So I came on as like one of their first salespeople. So we're a team of 6.
So you went into a startup?
Went straight into a startup because everyone was like, great, you've like officially cut your teeth in tech. You are, thank you. They're like, you're doing it, but like you're not going to get the full experience unless you see the behind the scenes of building a business from the ground up. So I was like, okay, great. Because everyone said like, go into big tech, learn how to be like, learn the processes, learn the structure, learn all the things you like have to know. But it's more fun if you can build a business, because like what everyone's like gunning for is like starting a business, getting funding, either getting acquired, either an exit. It was like this like shiny like golden gate that you were working towards around where like you wanted to be part of like this massive company that just ended up getting acquired. So you're like, great. And then you're happy, you have your billions, you're in the Bahamas. Like that was the attitude. That was.
Are you on your way to that? Is that
every day?
Any day. I'm coming. Do not forget this whole thing that we did here. Amazing. I would love to actually dive into more now in your entrepreneurial journey. Your founders, co-founders, how did you guys come up with that idea? How did you find them? And has it been all smooth sailing or
okay,
or not, I guess.
Amazing.
But in between, do you should I smash these avocados? Or like do you want it kind of cut?
Smash it.
Smash it a little bit.
Cut the bread too?
Bread is cut actually.
Oh, amazing. Okay, never mind.
We pre-cut it from Gail's. I got some like multigrain bread. We can heat up actually the whatever that is. Skillet. Not skeleton. Skillet, whatever. Put it on top of it. All good. You can even put like 2, 3. We can feed you guys then with avo toast. Yum yum. If it doesn't fit too, it's fine. Okay, perfect. And then we're gonna poach it in, huh? Well,
amazing.
We're gonna swirl it and then like drop it in there. Okay, let's do it. So tell me more about, yes, exactly. So the idea of like how Curve came about, how the idea was born, where you found your co-founders.
Okay, so this is actually the really fun part. So it was this moment. Everything changed. No, I'm kidding, kind of. But so what ended up happening was, Rosie Dallas is our CEO and co-founder of Curve Club. She actually, for her first company, she went through Y Combinator, so YC in San Francisco.
Oh my God, no way!
So she was already in the Bay Area. We're the same age, so it's like you kind of know, like, there's like not that many like women that are going through YC and whatnot and starting their own businesses. So ended up being able to meet her, which is awesome. Like fast forward to where we are now, she's actually started like 6 different businesses. She sold 3 for like multi-millions. Like she is.
Oh my God.
Incredible. And she's like
powerhouse.
Yeah. So she is just one of those people where like kind of very, very similar to like everyone that you attract. It's like if you surround yourself with people that are just like pushing you forward, it's like at some point you're dragged a bit forward with them, like because that's the only way to go. And then so when first kind of Curve came about, we were thinking like lots of inspiration from Y Combinator, lots of inspiration from Soho House, because like I was living in London at this point, and it all came together to create Curve Club because we want every founder to be ahead of the curve. But we really wanted to like take in that buzz of like the Bay Area, what everyone's working on. Like I feel like when I was working in tech out there, it was like everyone was just talking about like the next business, the next big thing. Like, what are people investing in? Where are people going? It's like, what are you doing? What are you building? What does that look like? Who are you speaking with? And in London, I think the buzz is still there, but it's just a much bigger city. Yeah. So it's like spread across like WhatsApp groups, Slack groups, like so many meetups, or like VC offices, all those things. We're like, why can't we create something that's accessible yet luxurious?
So that's how the idea was born. But it was because it's only for founders, right?
Yeah.
The space.
Yeah.
And why only founders?
So we started with just founders because it's just you can definitely relate to this, but it's a really lonely journey. It's like you're really isolated in what you're doing. It's like sometimes your friends don't really get it. No one really knows. It's like all of a sudden you're stressed about like, I'm raising SCIS, and everyone's like, what's an SCIS? Yeah. And you're like, okay, well, let's move on. So it's just one of those things where I think it does put you in a different place.
It builds a community around you in the support system, right?
Exactly. And I also think it's like the more and more people that you're surrounded that are like high caliber and just like insane to be around, the better you become. So we were like, let's actually look at this from like almost like a tech point of view when we started Curve Club, because we're like, how do we de-risk the building? How do we figure out how to make this happen? How do we kind of like bootstrap it a little bit?
Yeah, makes sense. And so you guys then just went ahead with an idea. By the way, I like a lot of coriander. Do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I'm just like slaving in the kitchen here for her.
I was gonna say I could cut a tomato. I'm actually doing a lot of work over here keeping this done.
Grilling the bread. You know, I'm learning a lot. I mean, it's great. I love it. So you girls met up and you both kind of agreed. Whose idea was it?
So it actually came from different things. I was actually looking at this other business I was trying to start. Ended up meeting Rosie. And like one thing we realized about this girl is that she can take an idea and she adds her Rosie factor to it and just makes it better. So she was like, I like where you're going, but where you're ending is Curve Club. And this is what it's called, Curve Club. And I was like, perfect.
Amazing. And you were so aligned.
Yeah, everything was there. And then our CTO, her name's Iona, she was also part of the founding team of like the UK's fastest acquired company. So they also ended up getting like acquired for like a splashy 9 figures after 18 months. So she had time on her hands. So we were like, if that's not a sign to do this now, let's do it. Yeah. And you know what? Even though my cooking skills, I know I'm really letting them shine today. The building we took over was Jamie Oliver's 15. Yeah. So I'm not sure what he would think about it, but the building was vacant. It was empty. It was like right after COVID. So we actually...
That's the same building where you guys are now.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful and warm space. So, but you also transformed it.
Yeah. So it used to be Jamie Oliver's 15. It was his flagship restaurant. Like the upper 2 floors was his headquarters and the downstairs was his flagship restaurant. So we ended up taking over the whole building and then kind of figuring out like, okay, great. How do you make this building profitable without any people in it? And then how do we just make this into a members club? Right. So we were like, okay, let's just give it a go. So Rosie actually led all of that. We took over the building, and then throughout the whole construction phase, we actually gutted the whole thing. And we're like, how do we figure out like what people want? Like we have such a vision. I'm like, look at me, like everyone can eat avocado toast every day. Not everyone might like that. So
no, I bet not.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, like how do we get product market fit? How do we get like a proof of concept that works? So throughout the whole construction phase, we're like, let's just do a hard hat dinner. So in the basement, this actually sounds horrendous to put on camera, but in the basement, we would invite people into the basement of our building.
Sounds creepy.
Yeah, in hindsight. And we're like, it's like, we're going to have all these great facilities. You can't use any of them. We're going to have all these great things. You can't see it. But we always filled up the table of like half female founders, half men founders. We capped it at 10. We would serve a 3-course meal.
No way. So it was a little bit like a focus group.
Yeah. So literally every week we'd have like 10 people come together and we'd ask them like, well, what are you interested in? What are the benefits? What makes sense? Like, why would you join? Like, is it something you're looking for? All while we're practicing our like hosting skills that turns out they were like kind of lacking in the beginning, and then pulling people together. But it was awesome because I think we ended up hosting a little over 30 dinners with over like 300 founders to help us. To help us figure out what to do. And actually, funnily enough,
that's a lot of dinners, but also like the best way to do it. I always tell people, you know, even when they're raising, it's like have those potential investors, your dream investors, come along the way of the journey with you and help you shape your value prop, because ultimately those are the people that you want on board eventually, right? And the same with you, like with founders, getting their constant feedback.
And actually it turns out a lot of founders, after they're successful, end up being angel investors, and that's how we ended up finding 2 of our angel investors that ended up investing in us, because they kind of saw the behind the scenes. They were like, we want to do this. Something actually we ended up learning was whenever people said like, oh my God, I want to do something just like this, those are usually the perfect people to go after, because then like they're already bought in. It's also nice. It's validating to hear that they want to do it too. But since none of us could actually cook, a lot of our meals in the beginning before we signed restaurants were all through Why Hungry.
No way! And she saw, we were filming City from Why Hungry when Erin walked in. Oh, okay, so you guys used them to
it was great.
And provide the food for the meals.
She walked in, I'll never forget our first founder dinner. We like, you know when you just kind of like go out into the ether and you're like, hey, like private chef ready in a couple hours. I think we booked one of the worst chefs in my entire life.
No way.
City was at that dinner. So City, she's great. She also went through YC. She started this like, you could book different chefs to cook for you. And she was like, what are you serving me? And I'm like, this looks like some sort of pasta. She was like, this is disgusting. You're using my service from now on. And she actually was amazing. She gave us like a great deal. And then ever since we're using Why Hungry.
Amazing.
And everyone's been blown away. So it made a difference.
I love that. But now you guys have chefs actually downstairs, no?
So now our model works. We actually ended up putting 3 dark kitchens in the basement. So they ended up paying us rent. And then while we're growing and scaling, we didn't have enough members, they can make their money through like Deliveroo and Uber Eats.
Got it. Amazing. How was the fundraising journey for you guys? Because obviously like, you mentioned that you had angels who were coming along with you through that journey, and so therefore knew you, and that was an easy conversion. But what about the big fat ticket sizes, and how hard was that?
So in the very beginning, so Rosie, she actually put in the initial angel investment. So she put in around.
You guys like self-funded it in a way.
So it was she was our angel investor. It was one of those things we worked out before we even like started the idea. She put in $700K, and she was like, we're gonna do this. But then since the building, we actually de-risked it because we rented out the top 2 floors to different tech startups, so they paid us rent. And then the dark kitchens ended up paying us rent as well. The building was actually covered. So there was actually, we ended up having no overhead and kind of de-risk that side of
That's
things.
amazing, and very fortunate, privileged position to be in, right? Because a lot of founders can't afford that.
Exactly.
But also a lot of founders who have immediate network with potential investment and money around them, they feel really uncomfortable asking them.
And I also think like Rosie, we can probably make like 1,000 avocado toasts to talk about it, but her first company was Fat Llama. I think I'm allowed to say that she sold that one for 40 million, and that I think then she ended up selling 2 more for like way more. So she ended up like having so many businesses. I think this was a culmination of something she's always wanted to do.
It was in a way her passion project as well, right?
Exactly.
That's amazing. Shall we try to poach these eggs? Because I don't know how that's gonna go.
Okay. I think we just crack it into a spoon and drop it in. Or do you crack
do it?
Okay. This is the real moment.
Woo! Ah! We lost half of it, but never mind. Okay. I think we just like crack.
Turns out I'm better at prospecting.
There you go. Okay, guys, don't. This is not lunch and learn, yeah? Like, don't do it this way. This is a disaster. Okay. So you guys self-funded it. And then how was the full journey? Because I've been following you guys from pretty early on. And how is the journey in terms of actually people's reaction, the support, but not just verbal support, but things that they do. And I guess like from back of that, it's also, I know a lot of business owners, especially when it's a business like this that can be very helpful for so many people. Yeah. They like to take advantage of it a little bit. Yeah. It's like, oh, can I have your space? Like, can I have it for free? Or can I just try it before I buy it? So like, how was your experience kind of around that?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was, we still get a lot of that. We'll have some people message us being like, oh, like, can we just have the space? And we're like, well, no, like, that doesn't really work out. Like, we also want, like, to see some revenue coming in. It's always nice. When
you have a business to run.
Exactly. So when we first started, I think, like, we launched with, like, around 100 members. So we had, like, I'll never forget, it was, like, terrifying when we were, like, we're actually going to have to start charging them now. Like, we only had a floor and a half of the building done, and we're like, we need to open to keep us afloat. Because we put a lot of money into the construction, into the build, into, like, the redesign to make it different. And I think, like, everyone, it's one of those things where you naturally want to show people, like, we're doing well, like, look at what we're accomplishing. I also think it's rare to see, like, 3 female founders do something like this. I think historically we're in an industry where it's like just gentlemen's clubs. Most founders are men. Most people that receive a lot of these things are men. And we were like, I wonder how people are gonna receive us coming from, like, we all look a bit different. Yeah. We're not like the cookie cutter, what people would expect. Yeah. So it was actually like a crazy experience. I think like the one thing we ended up realizing that we just had to do was just ask people, like, who could you introduce us to? Who do you think would benefit from this? Yeah. I think we had to like learn just by going through the fire of like what worked and what didn't work. Yeah. But I'd say like the biggest struggle I think was everyone just thinking that, or just assuming that they could just use everything for free.
How did you then shift that dynamic? Because I think like a lot of people will. One died. And that mine was good.
It's great.
I don't know about that one. So how did you shift the dynamic from we're not just a freebie business to you gotta pay, there is a minimum spend, there's a membership fee, whatever else. So how do you get into that CEO mode from being a friend to a CEO?
I think what we realized was you had to. I was like, we were burning through cash. It just didn't make sense. Like it was something where we had to make that transition, or else it just didn't make sense for us. And then we wanted the business to work. So I think like when you are backed into a corner, you're like, all right, I just need to figure out how to communicate this as best as possible. Hopefully it lands. I'm going to toss in a softening statement here and there to be like, we want this to happen, but also you need to pay us. Yeah. And then I think like when it came to like memberships, ended up changing a bit of different things. Like I think we ended up aligning and partnering with like some really awesome people, like yourself included. So I think like that
we love hosting our communities at the Curve Club.
It just made like such a difference because we went from like, great, hosted at Curve Club to like, we figured it out now. None of us had this background. We get what these things are. Like we know what we're doing. We finally like figured out like what are hard targets, where do we need to meet by, like what makes sense, and then we can start tracking things in like a better way of then like, this was great, that was good. What about this? What about that?
But it all kind of comes from kind of trial and error, right? Yeah. In the beginning, like who has it all figured out? Yeah. Not many people. And I get it, right? Like Rosie has done this multiple times, but also you were more or less new to that.
Oh yeah. And the business changed like every day. It was like a different business. Right. It was like a different priority. We're like, oh, maybe we'll go in this direction. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll do that. So it was.
And I think like that's really good to normalize that as well, that actually it can pivot and you shouldn't be just extremely resistant to that change, because you want to make sure that you're constantly listening to your audiences, to your market, to your buyers, and molding around your needs and that gap in the market.
Exactly. And I think like even our branding, our website, everything changed. I think our website's changed over like 13 times now. Like our first one, like okay, I wouldn't say I'm like embarrassed by it, but I'd say if I brought it up today, you'd be like, that is not something I want to be a part of. Yeah. Because everyone was saying, they're like, oh, like, if you're proud of what your first website looks like, then you launched too late, or whatever the phrase was. And I remember thinking, I was like, all right, well, we're definitely not proud. And then Iona, our CTO, made it live. So then we were like, let's let's do it.
Right. I love that. Should we start reassembling the dishes as well? Because I think I've prepared everything for you now.
I can assemble
it's all ready. Should I put it together? Yes, that sounds good. Shall we assemble our dish?
Yes.
So we have a beautifully grilled multi-grain bread here that I got from Giles, which is around the corner, and I love them. And we have some smashed avocado.
Perfectly prepared.
Perfectly prepared. So we have some lime and salt and pepper and my favorite ingredient, coriander, which is controversial. Some people hate it, some people love it. They're like, why you put it in avocado? We do it whatever we want because it's our kitchen. Yeah. Get over it. So shall we?
Oh, stunning.
Have a dollop of that. And then you can add some feta and some tomato for acidity. Yeah. Is that? What else do you guys usually put it on your toast?
I'd say like any other startup founder, you barely have time, I think, in the day to get everything done.
Yeah.
So I'd say that this looks pretty luxury when it comes down to what we normally put in it. But normally a bit of feta, bit of tomato, and sometimes, if we're feeling fancy, balsamic glaze.
Oh, I bought that specifically for you.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Balsamic glaze for you. Yeah. Go crazy. And then we're going to pop some egg on it, or what's left of it.
Yeah.
So I always like to ask towards the kind of like the end of every interview to all of our guests, what would be that one single advice that you would give entrepreneurs or female entrepreneurs, or move it from the microphone. What is one single advice you would give to female entrepreneurs or just generally entrepreneurs when they're getting started with your journey?
Yeah, I think the one piece of advice I would give is make the leap sooner. Like, I think
really
100%. I think it's like if you're passionate about something, you'll figure it out. Like you'll make it happen. You know how to do it. I think so many people, it's like when you think about it too much, when you're like comparing yourself, you see all this other success, it's like you can do that too.
Really? Because like a lot of people are like, well, go into corporate, get some experience, know how to run a company, blah blah blah, and then do it to kind of like decrease the risk. But you would say like kind of like a jump into it?
Yeah, because I'd say it's like you're going to be able to figure it out. And,
right.
and if you don't know how to do it, you're going to know someone that will.
Right.
So I think there's so many people now, and also like there's so many like support networks out there. There's so many people you can lean on, people that you can like cultivate that can like kind of like sit in your corner. Mm-hmm. That I would say I would go for it sooner. Amazing.
Yeah. But do you regret not going in sooner?
No,
because you did pretty fast.
Yeah. I mean, I worked in
early.
I worked in tech for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like I think everyone goes through their own journey, and it makes sense. But like I do think it's like nowadays you can do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, if not now, when? I think
I love that.
Jump in and do it.
What is one thing you need to be cautious of?
Ooh, okay. A big thing I will say is like, like if you want to like start like sprinting your marathons in the fast lane.
Yeah.
At least like surround yourself with the right people. I think like that makes like build your board. I think that makes a big difference.
Who are the right people?
Like I think it's different for everyone. Like for me, it's like I think in order for me to feel like confident that I know that I can like take any risk and it's going to be fine. It's like I like that like Rosie's done it before, so it's like we feel all the confidence to do it.
Right.
But then alternatively, it's like I think it's Iona, our CTO. It's her first company. That looks perfect.
I know.
It's Iona's first company, and like I think also just like knowing the fact that like I can lean on her for anything, it just makes such a difference for us.
So have the right people around and make sure that you plug each other's gaps.
Exactly. Like
right?
I think fill everyone's blind spots, which is nice.
That's definitely.
Yeah, this all balsamic glaze this side.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. We can balance it out.
Yeah.
Love that. Look at that, guys. Okay. Bit of a molten salt. And should we do the oozing, cutting kind of video of this? Okay, but in the meantime, what are your plans? Because you guys have one location at the moment.
Yeah.
Are you expanding? Like, what are you going for? What are your big plans?
Yeah.
How are you gonna be $1 billion business?
We are big dreamers, but big doers. So we're gonna open up more locations in London. We then want to expand globally. Like we want to go to New York and LA, and then the rest.
So you
want to
be a modern, like, so house for founders, basically, in terms of the conceptually.
Yeah. I think we'll start like thinking about like how do we involve like investors, how do we involve more people, but ultimately, I think we have some really exciting things coming.
Can we have a little bit of a sneak peek into something that's coming next?
I think for us, it's like outside of the physical space, we're just going to be bringing like so much more. It's like we already like launched an app and did all of those things, but I think we really also want to start bringing in different things that people should be aware of. It's like everyone hears about AI and how it's a buzzword and la 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 la, but we want to like show people how you can actually use it, how we bring that in, how that can make a difference.
So you are bringing a technology into play.
Yes. Yeah, well, we launched our app, but we'll probably bring a lot more of like an online offering coming soon as well.
Okay, so it's not going to be just a physical offering. In terms of the venue and all the workshops and events that you're hosting there, but it will also be an offline one.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna try and do it all.
Amazing. I am so excited, and I'm just so proud of you, girl. So you've done an amazing job. Okay, let's cut into this. Can you come zoom in on this one? Because I have a feeling it's gonna be a good one. Look at that.
Stunning.
I mean.
What a day for it.
I know. All right, let's go. Have some bite. Do you want me to feed you or what?
I'll
You go with. She doesn't want me to feed her. Fine. Be like that. Don't care.
I love women supporting women, you know, but we have to draw a line somewhere.
Draw a line. Okay, go. It's dripping everywhere. Really good.
So good.
We're gonna finish this up.
Yeah.
Soon. But one more thing. It's a bit of a tradition now in our episodes. I think you got a sneak peek, which I'm annoyed about. But have something for you. Hold.
The suspense. Oh.
Ta-da!
So
I have a gorgeous roses bouquet for you from Flower Box.
Thank you.
That is literally
Stunning.
the biggest one they've ever sent.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
right.
just grab it.
Stunning.
Thank you so much for being here and for a great chat, delicious snacks, although I made most of it, okay?
Thank you so much. I actually think what you're doing is doing such a big difference. Like,
I
you're
hope so.
connecting some crazy people together, and I think like that's how it happens.
Yeah, and I think like it's really fun to just get dressed up, have some snacks, talk shop, but also there's so many different dimensions to us as well that I would love to show the world and show that shiny side of you. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yay!